BBC News with Sue Montgomery. Vladimir Putin has warned that Russia will react if Britain gives Ukraine ammunition containing depleted uranium. He was speaking at a news conference in Moscow with the Chinese President Xi Jinping.
It was revealed today that the UK, through the country's Deputy Defence Minister, has not only announced the supply of tanks to Ukraine, but also shells with depleted uranium. It seems that the West has indeed decided to fight Russia to the last Ukrainian, not in words but in deeds. If this happens, Russia will be forced to react. I mean, the collective West is starting to use weapons with a nuclear component.
In response, Britain's Ministry of Defence accused Mr Putin of spreading disinformation. It said the armour-piercing rounds had nothing to do with nuclear weapons. The Russian authorities have opened a criminal case against one of the leaders of the country's oldest human rights group's Memorial after a series of raids on Tuesday. Oleg Orlov has been charged with discrediting the military under a law introduced days after the full-scale invasion of Ukraine began last February. Memorial, which won the Nobel Peace Prize last year, was shut down by Russia's courts ahead of the invasion. The raids took place after a criminal investigation against Memorial was begun for alleged rehabilitation of Nazism. Health centres in Afghanistan have been put on alert after a powerful earthquake caused tremors across a vast area. The 6.5 magnitude quake was centred in the remote Hindu Kush Mountains. Buildings have collapsed in Afghanistan and neighbouring Pakistan. Jamal Rashid was at home in Islamabad when the earthquake struck.
I was having my dinner at the 4th floor when it all happened, and the intensity was so high. It felt like something is shaking very rapidly, and the sound of rattle still haunting my ears right now. I was scared. I was literally shocked that I have witnessed that thing first time in my life.
The Ugandan Parliament has passed a draft law that criminalises identifying as LGBTQ. Those found guilty face up to 10 years in prison. Here's David Bamford.
Uganda is one of over 30 African countries that already bans same-sex intercourse. But according to Human Rights Watch, if this new draft law is approved by President Yoweri Museveni, it would be the first anywhere to outlaw merely identifying as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender or queer. Opposition MPs urged Parliament not to approve the bill, but the parliamentary speaker said the morals and culture of the country must be safeguarded. Earlier this month, President Museveni described gay people as deviants.
BBC News. The US State Department has said it's deeply troubled by a vote in Israel's parliament to allow Israeli citizens back into 4 evacuated settlements in the occupied West Bank. A spokesman in Washington, Vedant Patel, condemned the move as provocative. Mr. Patel said it violated promises to the United States.
This is something specifically we have been very clear about, that the growth of settlements and outposts is inconsistent with our views on what steps are necessary to get us to a negotiated two-state solution in a peaceful way.
There's been widespread criticism of the move, including from the Palestinian Authority and the European Union. Israel passed a law in 2005 which ordered the evacuation of the areas. Police are out in force in Paris as further protests are held in the French capital, a day after President Macron's government narrowly survived a no-confidence vote over its pension reform plans. Thousands of people again took to the streets during the day to demonstrate against the retirement age being raised by 2 years. The government of Peru has sacked the commander-in-chief of the police as part of an investigation into an alleged corruption network. President Dina Boluarte signed a decree saying Raul Alfaro's employment had been terminated. Prosecutors accused General Alfaro of links to a criminal organisation, allegedly headed by the former president Pedro Castillo. Mr Castillo was ousted in December. Trains have been cancelled on 2 railway lines in the Netherlands because badgers have dug tunnels under the tracks. Service has been halted for a week on one busy line in the south of the country because the burrowing mammals have dug into the sandy embankments carrying the rails. This can cause tracks to subside, endangering trains. BBC News.